Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another episode of the 360 Experience with myself, Thomas Mabaso. Guys, before we get on with the show, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you can get notified whenever we drop a new content. And the most important part, guys, please drop those comments and make sure that you drop those comments below and give us the feedback. Tell us what we need to do to make our content better, and tell us who do you think we should have on our show. And today I have a guest here. Is my brother from Patriotic Alliance. I didn't know that I had such a big person around in my community. His name is Mr. Fezile Songwala, but I am going to give him his chance to introduce himself. How are you, my brother?
I'm good, and you? I'm good, and you, my brother?
I'm fine, man. Mr. Fezile, can you please kindly tell us about yourself? Who are you and what do you do?
My name is Fezile Songwala, as you've mentioned. I am the provincial chairperson for the Patriotic Alliance Youth League here in the Free State Province. But I'm originally from I'm originally from Eskom here in the Free State as well.
Yeah. So, Mr. Fezile, the first thing that I want us to talk about is the state of Maboneng.
Yes.
What do you think about the state of Maboneng?
Well, I think as a resident of Maboneng, it is quite obvious, and your viewers might resonate with this fact that the state of our local government in this part of the country is in a very, dire state, if I can put it like that. The municipality, like all other municipalities across South Africa, is facing a lot of challenges, issues around service delivery, issues around administration, maladministration, and so on and so forth. So in my view, as a resident of Maboneng and as an activist in this municipality, I think that the municipality needs serious change. I'm not of the view that we have leadership. I think we have a serious, lack of leadership in that municipality, given the fact that our roads are not good. Potholes, I think we are the capital of potholes in the entire Free State. Yeah. We don't have consistent and reliable water supply. We don't have consistent and reliable electricity supply like the rest of South Africa. Refuse collection happens once, I think, in a month or in a quarter of a year, I don't know. So, Maboneng municipality, in my view, it's not worthy of being called a municipality at this current state.
It's not worthy.
Yeah.
So, in terms of changes, what do you think needs to be done to start changing things around here? Because you've also mentioned so many things, and I can think that it's going to take a long time, but we have to start somewhere. So what do you think needs to be done to start changing things around here?
Look, and this goes to your viewers and the rest of us who stay in Maboneng. Change will begin when we begin to vote correctly. Vote for people with adequate skills. Vote for people with adequate, qualifications or relevant qualifications. People with capacity to lead. People who love the people they lead. And I think the opposite is happening currently. Yeah. So in my view, change will begin when we vote correctly. Yeah. And with 2024 elections coming up, though they are national and provincial, that should be an opportunity for all of us to begin the change we want by voting the current government out, because it's clear that they've failed. Yeah. And anybody who denies that, I don't think they stay in South Africa. We have become a failed state under the current government. Therefore, change is imminent, if I can put it like that. Yeah.
But I understand that you're saying that from a political side, but at the same time, we have to admit that our people, they don't see things the way maybe people in your position see things. Maybe they don't see things the way maybe some people who are learned, they see things, because I think it has to do with the fact that people are voting for the party instead of individuals. Like, do you think we should go to a place where we can put an individual there and say, okay, this person is Mr. Fezile, he's qualified to do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Vote for him, instead of saying like, this is Fezile, but you're gonna vote for Patriotic Alliance. Do you think that is a problem? Because I think with our people, they are, I don't want to say they are loyal, but they are loyal to the ANC. They are loyal to the ANC. So I know that we have to vote right, but do you honestly think that people will vote right?
Look, I think apartheid had some form of trauma on the electorate, in particular black people.
Yeah.
We are afraid of change because we are uncertain of what South Africa would look like post the ANC, government. But with the, introduction of new political parties on our voters' roll, such as the Patriotic Alliance and many other so-called smaller parties. I think when you look at our political landscape in terms of your metros and so on, there is change that's coming slowly but surely with the election of parties like the PA into certain municipalities. So it's not happening at a rapid pace, which I think would be good if it happened like that, but it's beginning to take shape. So that loyalty that you speak of does exist, but to the detriment of South Africa, in my view, because, I always joke that you cannot keep going back to that toxic ex just because he or she gives you money or, good sex. But, you must understand and know when it's time for change. The only thing that's constant is change in life. And I think change is coming to South Africa. Like I said, with every election, we keep on seeing the decline of the ANC. And my personal prediction is that the ANC will definitely go beyond 50% come the next election. Be they tomorrow or next year, definitely the ANC will not get a clear majority, in my view. And I'm confident of that. But that can only surely happen when young people begin to vote, because that's another challenge.
I wanted to ask you about that, like in terms of youth. Do you think as youth we know our role, or do we recognize the power that we have by simply going to the booth and vote? Do we understand the power that we have? Because I remember one day I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and I was like, I think the biggest thing is that people don't know when they vote for someone, they don't know the kind of power that they give that person. Even the people who are voting, they don't know the kind of power that they are giving to you.
Sure.
Do you think that the youth, they can recognize the power that they have by simply sacrificing one day? It's only one day. We sacrifice one day. Can you imagine 20 million of us one day?
Look, I think, unfortunately, there's political apathy across all, age groups, if I can put it like that. But I think as well that the youth are the majority, who unfortunately are not, taking advantage of the power that they have. But the blame shouldn't just go to the youth, which is not showing up to the elections to vote. I think the IEC as well should take responsibility for that. I mean, this is 2023 and we still have people queuing just to vote. There are many other innovative ways that we can embark on, such as, online voting. I mean, everybody's got a cell phone, a smartphone these days. And that's the space that we are dominating as young people. With technology, you can reach many people other than just subscribing to your formal traditional ways of doing things. So I think the IEC is very rigid in their thinking, and they are also backward in their thinking, because there's this thing, I don't know, among black people, we fear technology.
Yeah.
And with technology, I think we can get young people to participate politically. Hence, you are having a podcast now.
Yeah.
You are reaching far more people as compared to as if you were meeting in a hall somewhere. You understand? So we must move away from that traditional rigid way of thinking and be innovative and forward thinking in our approach. Two, I also think we as political parties, we must mobilize the youth in their numbers. And this is why the ANC keeps on, staying in power.
Yeah.
Their power lies with the older generation, who are very loyal, as you said, who understand the importance of voting because of that trauma which I spoke of pre-1994. Those are people who lived through apartheid.
Yeah.
So those of us who've not lived that experience, we take for granted the power that we have.
But I know older people, they went through apartheid. But don't you think us being in this space that we are in right now, whereas like a lot of people are not working, don't you think for us that should maybe motivate us a bit to...
Look, I understand your question.
I don't want to say it's our own apartheid because it's going to be...
No, we have our own struggles as a result of this government.
Yeah.
Young people are loitering the streets. Young people have subjected themselves to, substance abuse, alcohol abuse, all those things. Primarily because the government does not create opportunities for jobs to be created, for the economy to prosper, for, individual entrepreneurs like yourself to function at a much more, profitable scale.
Yeah.
I mean, this podcast, for example, if we had proper leadership in government here in Machabi, we are not going far. I wonder, do they understand the power that lies with media? Because this is part of media.
Yeah.
You understand? Those people are clueless.
Yeah,
they just know T-shirts, food parcels, and whatnot. They are old. So we have our own challenges. And my frustration with young people is that we are only reactive when there is a so-called shutdown, or you understand. That's when you begin to see, you understand. So that activism needs to be channeled properly, in my view. Young people must, participate in their numbers within political parties which are, which represent their struggles, if I can put it like that.
Yeah, but talking about young people and not participating, what is it exactly that's making it that way? Unfortunately,
the ANC has, given politics a bad name in South Africa. There are very few good people in politics in South Africa because of what we have thought politics are through the ANC. I mean, young people associate politics with, your T-shirts, food parcels, V-class, alcohol, slave queens. Those are not politics. Politics are about, the future of our society, about deciding the direction that the country must take. Those are serious issues that we as the youth must take interest in, because these old people will not be there in future. They are talking about Vision 2063.
Yeah, they know they will not be there.
I mean, if you are Cyril Ramaphosa in your 70s, chances are you will not be there in 2063.
Yeah, you can talk about Vision.
But I have the authority to talk about 2063 because I'm still very young. Yeah. Chances are I will be there.
Yeah.
So we must shape the future that we want and move away from this, toxic polity of the ANC. And I'm not here to talk badly about the ANC, but my frustration is that we fail to imagine South Africa beyond the ANC. Yeah. Hence the downfall that we are in.
That's why a lot of people, they keep saying, if we vote out ANC, who are we going to put there?
The Patriotic Alliance is there.
And every day the parties are there and they are giving us our policies and they're like, okay guys, come. Here is our policies. We offer you 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But the people still say, if we remove ANC, what are we going to replace it with? And I'm like, damn.
Yeah. No, I think the coalitions in the metros have kind of given us a picture of what's likely to happen at a national level should the ANC move out of power, as I've predicted. Look, opposition parties are also to take blame because we are too fragmented in terms of how we present ourselves. You understand? In my view, although this is a democracy, I would have been happy if we had a maximum of about 4 or 5 political parties on the ballot. I don't think it assists the electorate for us to have 40, 30 parties. 30 parties, you understand? But that's democracy. We have to live with it. Look, my message is that if you are going to vote for somebody, make time to study their manifesto, check their track record where they've governed, be it at a ward councillor level or district municipality level or provincial level or even national level, because you must vote for the party that represents your interests. For example, I cannot vote for the DA. I mean, the DA kicks black people out as a starter. You understand? And good black people have left the DA only because they stood up to the so-called madam in the DA. You understand? So where the DA governs, for example, they look after white interests. Cities, or should I say urban areas, are well governed, so to speak. But within the same jurisdiction, you will have a township not being taken care of, for example. Look at Cape Town. That's an example that we all know.
And they don't show that on TV. No?
You understand? So I can never, in my frustration with the ANC or whatever government we have, vote for the DA. Hence, I decided to join the Patriotic Alliance because this is a party that places the interest of South Africans first. For example, if you check the name Patriotic Alliance, the word patriot simply means somebody who loves their country and their people. An alliance, basically, the unity of forces. So, and Gaten Mackenzie, the president of the PA, has shown exemplary leadership within a year where he's governed.
I remember his 100 days.
And he delivered. And I don't think that was communicated to the level that it needed to be communicated. Because the ANC doesn't care about people, but we keep on having faith in the ANC. Look, it doesn't mean the ANC is a bad party. The ANC is good for history books, in my view. You understand? The ANC is good in our archives. They've fought their fight, and it ends there. We must now move forward with new visionary leadership. Hence the Patriotic Alliance.
So sticking in Machabi with Patriotic Alliance, I know you are a chair for the youth. What is it that Patriotic Alliance is offering to the youth? What is it that they are promising to the youth? Because looking right now where things are going, I have an interview coming with is the youth league, is a ANC youth league representative. I'm gonna talk to him. But right now the youth is not interested in anything. But so what is it that Patriotic Alliance is offering to the youth, especially here in Machabi?
Look, the Patriotic Alliance understands the fact that young people are unemployed in their numbers. Hence, the party is very strong on creating that conducive environment for young businesses to thrive. That's number one. Small and macro enterprises must find the necessary support from the municipality. That is not happening from Machabi. What we have happening now is this thing of subcontracting and, paying people peanuts and stuff. That is not true entrepreneurship. We want to see young people, starting products afresh marketing them and selling them. That is business. That is true entrepreneurship, not tenderpreneurship. For example, I will make an example about this podcast.
Yeah.
This is your brainchild.
Yeah.
This is your concept. This is your business. This is what the service that you offer.
Yeah.
You understand? That is entrepreneurship in a simple, explanation. So we are opposed to this thing of the selected few benefiting in terms of business. 2, we want to see young people in school, young people in educational institutions. What is currently happening with NSFAS and so on and so forth. NSFAS needs to be reimagined so that it funds people, students from first year until final year without them receiving just a little bit of housing, subsidy, but paying fully the housing subsidy, the tuition subsidy, food and so on, stationery and so on. Yeah. So on those 2 accounts, we want to see young people benefiting. Thirdly, the issue of service delivery, the PA is very strong on service delivery. You cannot live in a location that is not properly serviced, irrespective of whether it's urban or rural. So we want to see young people taking up leadership positions in municipalities as well, so that such decisions, when they are taken, young people are fully represented.
So I also want us to talk about illegal immigration.
Yeah.
I want us to talk about illegal immigration. I know that Patriotic Alliance, they've released some strong weights to illegal immigration. What do you think about illegal immigration here in Maboneng?
Look, anywhere you go around the world, illegal immigration is not tolerated. I don't know why in South Africa or here in Maboneng or wherever we are in South Africa, whenever you mentioned illegal immigration, people then play the xenophobic card. Yeah. That is absolute nonsense and that is stupidity. If you love your country, like I said. Look, we are not xenophobic, but we would appreciate it if people would come into South Africa, into the Free State, into Maboneng, through proper legal channels, as you do if you go to Lesotho, if you go to Swaziland or any other, sovereign state, self-respecting sovereign state. You go there with your passport and papers in order. But for some reason, when it comes to the South African situation, people have this thing that you are xenophobic when you call out the fact that we have a lot of illegal immigrants in our townships. As a result of that, crime is on an all-time high. The spaza shop economy, for example, it's no longer in our hands as black people, as South African people. Many other sectors of the economy have been taken over by largely people who came through illegal means. So the government of the PA would like to see our borders guarded properly. We make no excuse when we say that the day we take over government, there would be mass deportations of illegal immigrants. We would love to see immigrants who bring, scarce skills into our economy and into our society. But you cannot flee from your country crying asylum or you want to be a refugee. But come Christmas Day, you are going home for Christmas and coming back again in the new year. There's something fishy there. True refugees don't go home for Christmas. You understand? Because they can't go home because of the situation back home. So, again, this speaks to the lack of government we have or the lack of leadership we have in government. Insofar as Home Affairs is concerned, and the entire ANC government is concerned. So our country, unfortunately, at the moment, is up for sale, if I can put it like that.
Yeah, I think on my part, I think the reason why people sometimes when Mr. Mackenzie or Mr. Gunene says something it becomes so viral, is because I think people are trying to link Patriotic Alliance's stance on illegal immigration with Operation Dudula. Because I think, because Ken Kunene, who was on TV yesterday, was like, I'm gonna chase them out and everything. But I think on my side, the problem I have with Operation Dudula is that instead of taking the fight to the government, the people who are letting these illegal immigrants come into the country, you are starting to chase illegal immigrants. You are not doing anything. Because if you chase illegal immigrants in Velkom, they want to move to Odindal. You move them to Odindal, they want to move back to Velkom, they want to move to Virginia. Next thing, it's a never-ending cycle. But I think taking the fight to people who are allowing this thing to happen is the proper way to go with it. That's my only problem with Operation Dudula. That's why I didn't understand how and why they were doing what they were doing, the way they were doing it. Because I was like, it's counterproductive. It's not making any changes. It's not making
Look, the fight should be taken to the ballot.
Yeah.
You understand? If you are unhappy about illegal immigration, vote again for people who have a clear stance. Because at the moment, the PA seems to be the only party which vividly, and explicitly communicates its stance on illegal immigration. Like I've said before, of course, we don't support the fact that members of society would take law into their own hands. That is unfortunate and it's illegal, of course. But if government is serious, then we should be seeing government acting on it. The fact that you don't see government acting on it, it speaks volume. Yeah. So it will be a never-ending issue so long as our borders are open and people climb through the fence or whatever. Yeah. So it's really an unfortunate thing, but I totally blame our ANC government for the lack of security on our borders.
Yeah, it's almost as if it's done on purpose, because if you allow a situation to a point where people feel like defending themselves, whereas they were not even supposed to do that.
The state should be able to defend us.
Because if you look at it this way, because I always look at things in a broader way, because I'm like, okay, if we chase out immigrants in South Africa, what's going to happen if I get a job next year in Ghana?
Sure.
Am I going to go walk around in Ghana telling people that I'm from South Africa? I'm going to get killed. Because that is the narrative that they are building. The narrative that you can't say anything about illegal immigration. You can't say anything about people. You can't say anything because if you say anything, there are these groups who are just like, South Africans are xenophobic. And at the same time, they are taking out this message out in Africa. They don't even understand what Patriotic Alliance is trying to say.
No, like I said, we are very clear on our stance. We don't support any form of illegal immigration. If it's wrong, we call it out. And the fact that a narrative would be globally communicated that we are xenophobic, it's wrong and it's misinformed. Look, try going to Lesotho without papers and see what will happen. You can't. You'll be deported in no time. Yeah. You understand? Because the government there understand the importance of being a sovereign state, of knowing who is within your borders. For example, the issue of the July unrests, I think it was in last year or 2021. Last year, I'm not sure, 22 but the July unrest. Yeah, I remember that. Our intelligence was caught off guard simply because they don't know who is in our country, who's not in our country. I mean, an illegal immigrant can come into our country from Zimbabwe, commit crime and go back, and then we'll blame each other here. Or be he from Swaziland or Botswana or whatever country he comes from. So it is important to have clear border security, but that can only happen under a serious and committed government. Unfortunately, the current government has failed over the years.
Why do you think is it that they are gaining?
I can't commit myself on that because that would be speculation. Yeah, but I think, right now, but I think This is informed by, and this is just me analyzing the situation.
Yeah.
This might be informed by the fact that a lot of people who are leading government were, in exile and stuff like that. So they have lived experiences of, being accommodated in those countries and whatnot. So to them, it's loyalty to people who help them gain their independence and freedom. But unfortunately, they are not doing it in a proper way because we are a democratic state, and a lot of these things bring with them, socio-economic challenges like we have now with illegal immigration. So the fact that they were housed in Mozambique, in Swaziland, in Zimbabwe over the years of apartheid and, fighting for freedom, they still have their loyalty with their former comrades. So I'm just speculating, like I said. So they are failing us. This is very sad in my view. Because soon you will have a president from Zimbabwe who was born in Zimbabwe, but he or she will be president of South Africa.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Because you allowed him to come here, you understand, illegally, and they laid their hands on illegal documents and legal documents, but fraudulently. And ultimately they ran for parliament. Before you know it, you have a president from any other country, but who came here illegally. So, look, naturalization happens. Globally, if you stay in a country for more than 10 years or 15 years legally, you can be naturalized to be a citizen of that country. But in our case here, we are not handling it properly, I think.
Yeah. So it's elections next year. What are your predictions?
Obviously, whoever is going to govern South Africa will need support of the PA. Look at the city of Johannesburg. You cannot have a mayor in Joburg without consulting the PA. We are the deciding factor.
What do you think about the new guy?
Look, I think issues of that metro there should be handled by patriots who are that side. Our interest here in the Free State is to see Machabeng being led by a PA mayor or a PA speaker or a PA MMC. So the patriots on the ground are working hard to launch branches and ensure that PA gets proper representation in our municipality come the next local government elections. But obviously next year it's provincial and national elections. So we are running for office. We are registered with the IEC, of course. So expect us to be on the ground, to be doing door-to-door campaigning, launching branches.
How do you think door-to-door is going to go for the ANC?
I know they are not welcomed at my house, so I don't know about you. But, look, people are fed up. People are smarter politically in 2023 because of the failures of the ANC. People are now aware of the lies and the promises that were never kept. So I don't wish to be an ANC member at this time in point. So no, I don't think the ANC
is going to do well.
No. They are also fighting among themselves. Everybody's a leader there. Everybody wants to eat. The queue is too long. So we want to serve our people. We want to see proper services, our municipalities restored, So I don't think the ANC will do well.
Sticking on elections, I remember growing up, we never thought that we'll see a country like the United States in a point where they are even debating if the elections was legit or if the Biden was legit. So if ANC loses elections, do you think they will just...
They will have to accept, just like they accepted in the Western Cape.
Because I've heard a lot of people saying that they don't think that if the ANC loses, they will just go away without a fight. So I was like, what is it that they're going to do?
That's the problem with South Africans. We overestimate or we give credit to the ANC even if they don't deserve it. I mean, the ANC is a toothless bulldog, but people still want to see it as a bulldog. They will have to accept it. I mean, if you check in municipalities where they lose or in provinces where they've lost before, they have accepted. In KZN, there was a point where they were in opposition. They did accept. In the Western Cape, they are forever declining. So they are losing relevance in that part of the world where the PA is growing rapidly, by the way. So the ANC know very well that scientifically and even by their own political analysis that they are losing power. So many of them, I think, they anticipate poor performance in terms of the election outcome. So people shouldn't be scared because, again, that trauma that I was speaking of earlier on, that thing is part of that trauma because people are scared to say, what will happen to us if the ANC is not there? The ANC is going. In fact, the ANC is gone. Yeah. We are just living through the last, decade of the ANC, in my view. Yeah. So it's gone. It's gone. The PA is here, and the other parties which are voted into power, they are here.
So nationally, how do you think the PA will do?
I think we will do very well in Gauteng province, in particular city of Joburg and Ekurhuleni. By the way, Ekurhuleni is one of our best performing districts in terms of PA activism, if I can put it like that. Here in Machabeng, of course, we have done a lot of work and continue to do a lot of work. So, in many other parts of the country, if you check in the northwest, we have a municipality that has a PA mayor, Litsobotla. In the Western Cape, that's our territory. In the Eastern Cape, Nelson Mandela Bay, we have councillors there. So we are continuing with growing the party. So I would say comfortably so, we will be the deciding factor. Yeah. Whoever wants to run South Africa after the next elections must beg for the support of the PA, or else we are the deciding factor.
Do you think next year's elections will be determined by Eskom? Do you think whoever can fix Eskom?
The ANC can't fix Eskom.
I think that one is.
The ANC can't fix Eskom because they've broken Eskom. So, and I feel bad for the Minister of Electricity because that guy is a very good guy. He's a highly educated person, technical person. He's a good moral individual. But he's been thrown into the deep and he's being set up to fail because there's no way the ANC can fix Eskom within a year, whereas they've taken all these years to gradually break it down, mainly through corruption. And I think the fact that you have a serious businessman like Rob Hessoff, who said that for Eskom to be fixed, you need a caliber of a person like Gayton McKenzie there. A person who understands the fact that there is deep-rooted corruption and who has the balls to address that corruption. A person who is business-minded and has a proven track record of succeeding in business, because Eskom is a state-owned enterprise. It's not just about cadre deployment there. So load shedding is not going away anytime soon, despite the lies that we can be told by the ANC government. So in my view, the PA has got credible leadership to fix Eskom. But going into the next elections, we will still vote with load shedding hanging over our heads. Yeah.
So SPA, are you aware of how can I put it? Are you aware of the smear campaigns against your leaders? And are you aware of that?
I think I get what you're trying to say. Look, it's a matter of fact and evidence that both President Gayton McKenzie and Deputy President Kenny Kunen are former inmates. In fact, I view them as success stories of our correctional services or rehabilitation processes. If every former inmate can be like that, you understand? But conversely, many of those people in parliament from the ANC are also, former prisoners, be they from Robben Island or.
So they are threatened.
They are threatened because we've got credible people who have a proven track record of fixing things. So within the ANC ranks, you would have people who still, have nostalgia over apartheid and the bushes and whatnot. So we are in a new dispensation which needs people who can lead, who can fix things. And the PA has got a plethora of such characters. Our leadership at the national level is a prime example. So don't be easily misled by those old people there who don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, so that's my view.
So if ANC does bad next year, there's a high chance of coalition government. How do you think that will pan out?
A coalition government.
Yeah.
Look, most likely we are going to have a coalition government after the next elections.
And how is it going to change and shift everything around?
I think the ANC, if by chance form part of that coalition government, they would be forced to perform. Because the challenge now is that they are not performing. They are on top, but they are doing nothing. I don't know if you get that, what I'm trying to say. So they would be forced to perform to the satisfaction of society if they are part of that coalition. But of course, I think that's a bridge that we will cross when we get there. Our main focus as the PA is to win over government. Such arguments can be then debated once we have, a chunk of the votes that we can confidently speak on. But 50% for the ANC is a stretch. I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah.
So what do you think about the war in Ukraine and Russia and our stance as a country? Because I don't think we've chosen a side. And what is PA's policy towards that?
No, on that one I cannot speak on behalf of the PA because it's an international relations matter. But my personal view is that war is never a good idea. I don't think anybody wants to go to war. It's destructive in many ways. But if you want to understand clearly what the war is about, I think Russia has been pushed to act.
Yes.
Because my understanding is that when NATO was formed, or part of the agreement between Russia and NATO was that NATO would not expand towards Russian borders.
Yes.
For example, if I can make example about our South African situation. Say, for example, NATO ends somewhere in Tanzania or Central Africa. The agreement would be that they would not move downwards towards maybe Botswana or Mozambique. But that situation is happening that side. They are moving towards Russia through Ukraine. So those are arch enemies. And Russia has been forced to act because the US and NATO have broken that agreement that they would not expand towards their territory. I think that's the simplistic way of explaining it.
What do you think about Ramaphosa's response to all of it? Because sometimes I think that Ramaphosa, you're going to get us killed by not actually taking a stand. It's either you stand with the West and the US or you stick with the police. No, I think because yesterday, the US ambassador of South Africa, it's very serious right now. He released a statement saying that South Africa provided Russia with weapons.
Look.
Do you understand where that puts us? Because right now they're trying to say, no, we didn't do that. At the same time, I was like, okay, guys, it's fine. Pick a side. Pick a side. It's either you choose. Because this war right now, the countries, whether they like it or not, they are being forced to pick a side.
By who?
I don't know.
The US is trying to be a bully. In fact, that ambassador, in my view, that's not diplomacy.
Yeah.
Look, South Africa has taken a stance, and that stance is non-alignment.
Yeah.
A non-alignment meaning we are not going to either be on the side of Russia or Ukraine insofar as the war is concerned.
Yeah.
But what we would like to see happening, and that's the South African government, what we would like to see happening is both parties coming to the table to resolve their matters. South Africa has got long-standing relations with Russia, emanating from the days of apartheid and so on. So that relationship continues. It's a diplomatic relationship. It has got diplomatic relations with Ukraine, with US, with everybody. But the fact that the US wants to force South Africa to act, that's a bullying tactic, and I think it should be condemned. South Africa is part of BRICS, so naturally there would be that cordial relationship between Russia and South Africa and China and South Africa and so on. So the US is threatened because the BRICS bloc, if I can phrase it like that, provides an alternative to the G7, the Group 7, your big economies. And they want to trade among themselves. They want to make trading easier and more profitable among themselves without the US dollar. Yeah. So the interest of the US in this case, as I understand it, in a layman's term, is that they want to continue their global dominance, and they are threatened not just by South Africa, by BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa.
If the DA goes into a coalition with the ANC, don't you think that will somehow distract? Because if the DA is sticking with the West, they have a representative.
Let me tell you something. You see, my problem is you guys take people who are not to be taken seriously. You take them seriously. Look, the DA will, in my view, will never govern South Africa.
Do you think so?
Because they have reduced themselves to a minority party. They have neglected your black leaders in the electorate. So they have went back to being a white party. And white people constitute about 10-11% of the population. So they too, with the ANC, they will not, in my view, come into agreement because their policies are two extreme opposites. So, and the DA wants to portray themselves as a sovereign kind of state or whatever. No, this is South Africa. No, that thing is nonsense. So this whole thing is messed up because the ANC doesn't have balls to act. If you study the policy conference outcomes, not policy conference, 54th or 53rd outcomes, resolutions to the ANC, they are very clear in terms of their support or their allegiance with Russia. That I've explained earlier on. So this whole thing that we have to pick sides, I don't think it's about picking sides, but it's about forming strategic international relations. In a nutshell. So the US again is threatened because they can see the direction in which South Africa is moving in terms of their role in BRICS. So, in as much as South Africa has got a stance on Israel and Palestine, you understand. South Africa has relatively a good stance in terms of their view on Russia, Ukraine. Though it's not a picking side kind of a thing, but their main thing is that we want to see world order. We want to see world peace. But having said that, you must understand that we have got long-standing relations with this particular country. So you cannot force us to choose sides. I don't know if I'm making it clear.
You're making sense, man. So before I let you go, man, what is it that you would like to tell the youth, especially as a chair of youth, going to next year's election? Because I think I want to invite you again.
Sure.
I did a prep, but there are a lot of things. We can't get through all of them. What is it that you would like to say to the youth, especially the youth in Machabeng? Because I'm hoping that it will.
Look, obviously, as the Free State Chair of the Youth in terms of the Patriotic Alliance, I would like to see young people joining the Patriotic Alliance in their numbers, helping build this party and making it grow so that they can use it, as a locomotive to express their aspirations. So that's number one. Number two, we must register to vote. It's important that young people vote in their numbers. Number three, it's important that we become activists in our own communities. We must speak against lack of service delivery. We must speak against corruption. We must speak against all these social ills that we are seeing in our communities. But the most important thing is that we are in charge of our own destiny. Therefore, we will lead ourselves into the future that we want to see.
My brother, man, thank you so much, man, for coming through.
Sure.
I hope that you're gonna be the friend of the show.
Hey, tell her.
Because we're still smaller, and they say we have a small platform. And
Sure.
I hope that you're gonna be the friend of the show, and I hope that you're gonna have the conversation. Maybe this year, or maybe next year. But thank you for coming to the show. That was it, guys, on the 360 experience with myself, Thomas Mabaso, and my brother, Mr. Fizile Sonkwala. I will see you next time, guys. Please don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and hit the notification bell so that you can get notified whenever we drop a new content. And the most important part, guys, please drop those comments below. Bye-bye.